What's up, guys? Neil Orfield here, taking a look at the Stokastic NFL DFS lineup generator for Saturday's slates. While you're coming in, please like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification button so you can get alerts when our shows go live. In this video, I'm going to take a look at all four. I'm going to look at the DraftKings main slate, the DraftKings Showdown slate, the FanDuel main slate, and the FanDuel single game slate, just briefly for all of them. Take a look at what some of the lineups we're getting right now are. Currently, we have it set up for the Saturday two-game slate. So the DraftKings main and FanDuel main slates are going to be just for the Saturday two-game slate. The Showdown slate currently set up for Cincinnati-Pittsburgh. Part of the reason I wanted to make this video a little bit earlier than usual, I'm making this on Friday. I want to give you the opportunity to sign up at the best possible time while we also have a promo going on. If you use the links in the description of this video, it actually applies to both both the lineup generator and the Sims products. All of our products currently 25% off. You can find the links in the description of this video. So for the lineup generator, it's just going to be $11.21 for your first week. So the promo is just for the first period of whatever you sign up for. If you sign up for a monthly period, it'll be the first month. If you sign up for a weekly period, it will be the first week, of course. But everything currently is discounted on the site. And if you sign up for the lineup generator, it is going to be $11.21, I believe, somewhere in that vicinity. It's usually $14.95. Now it's 25% off. That's going to include DraftKings and FanDuel. It's going to include the main slates. It's going to include every Showdown slate. And when I say main slate, that includes the Saturday main slate this week. So that's part of the reason I think it's a fantastic deal right now. Great time to sign up. It's always a great deal, but we get 25% off. Now you get the Saturday slate, the Sunday slate. We got a Monday slate as well. So tons of slates coming up. I believe this is the best time there has ever been to sign up for the lineup generator. If you've been thinking about signing up, use the link in the description. Right now is the time to do so. And of course, I'm going to show you what is looking good right now as of Friday. I always recommend that you run the lineup generator as close to the slate as possible. So typically for NFL, it'll be 90 minutes before lock. You're going to get inactives. I'd wait until about 50 to 60 minutes before lock. Give us a little bit of time to update in case there is any news that changes things. Update the lineup generator. So that is the best time, in my opinion, to run the lineup generator. It's about within an hour or so of lock is when you're really going to get the best lineups. And also another thing that I've realized, a lot of people use lineup generator. They just take the first lineups that they get. So if they're playing 5 lineups, they're going to take the first 5 lineups they get, or 20 lineups. They're going to use the first 20 lineups they get. I just want to say, you don't need to do that. Like these are not ranked. It's every lineup that you get in the lineup generator has been run through the Stokastic Sims and has been found to be profitable in the Stokastic Sims. But it's not like the top ROI lineup is the first lineup you get. You know that every lineup you get is going to be long-term profitable in the Stokastic Sims, but you can pick and choose the lineups that you want to play. You can have a part in this process. You don't need to just take the first lineups that it gives you, because those are not necessarily the best lineups in the sim, in the lineup generator. You can go through and pick and choose your favorite. I like to use a portfolio approach where I'm not just using 100% of one player, 100% of one stack. I like to spread it out. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you want to find 20 Josh Allen stacks. Whatever approach you want to take, you can use with the lineup generator. So just wanted to shout that out. You don't need to just take the first lineups that it gives you. You can have some say in your process. Just feel confident when you use a lineup generator that these are lineups that are looking good in the Stokastic Sims. All right, first I'm going to look at the DraftKings main slate. I'm just going to look really quickly at these lineups. I want to see just if we're getting any full-on onslaughts, quarterback versus defense. Those are the kind of things that I'm looking for the main slate. I'm going to do all stack types. We're going to get a mix of all one man's, two man's. Some will have a run back, some won't. I'm also going to do all lineup types. So we'll get a mix of chalky, balanced, and contrarian lineups. All right, first lineup, get a 4-man Bill stack. Josh Allen with James Cook, Steph Diggs, and Khalil Shakir in this one. We do not have any run backs from the Chargers. That's kind of interesting. So it's 4 Bills, no run backs, and then we've got a couple Steelers plus the Steelers defense and a couple Bengals players in there as well. We'll take a look at the end what our final exposures are. But yeah, no defense against the quarterback in this one. We are leaving 1,100 on the table, so that's a little bit noticeable that this is a lineup that shows up positive ROI in the Sims. The lowest owned player we're getting to is Chase Brown, 5.4% projected ownership. That's really low ownership for a 2-game slate for a guy who has been coming on recently. Wouldn't shock me if it comes in a little bit higher than that, but just goes to show that we're not expecting a ton of ownership there. But we are getting, the 56% owned Josh Allen, 77% owned James Cook. It's at 66% owned Steph Diggs. So we're getting a lot of really high owned players. I mean, it's a 2-game slate. You can't avoid high owned players. If you avoid all the high owned players, probably not making a very good lineup. All right, so that's a good one. Let's take a look at the next lineup. Easton Stick. Interesting that we get to an Easton Stick stack. We get Stick with Gerald Everett, just a single stack. We've got a couple run backs with James Cook and Steph Diggs. Also interesting that we have the Bills defense there. So here we do have quarterback stack against the opposing defense. Kind of interesting to see that. We're using the full salary cap here. Do we have any low owned plays? We get to not really. We don't have any super low owned. I guess Easton Stick himself is 12%. The quarterback, 12% owned quarterback. You don't need to get as different elsewhere. All right, let's look at one more, and then I'm just going to, we've got a Jake Browning with Tyler Boyd solo stack. We've also got Freiermuth and Najee Harris on the run back. We've got Austin Eckler and then three Bills players along with the Bills defense. Now I'm just going to go through, save these lineups, see what our final exposures look like. Just wanted to see what kinds of lineups we're getting, if we're getting anything interesting. And we kind of work getting quarterback against the opposing defense. Interesting to see that you can get that here. All right. 90% James Cook. Yeah, he's in kind of an elite matchup against the Chargers. Can't ask for a much better spot for James Cook. He's also cheaper than Austin Eckler with a better role. 75% Steph Diggs. Again, great matchup with the Chargers. Jalen Warren. We do have Najee Harris. It's looking like he is going to play this week, but Jalen Warren appears to be, taking over as the 1A guy there for the Steelers. Definitely seems to have more talent, in my opinion. And it's a great spot against the Bengals, who have given up, I believe, the most schedule adjusted fantasy points per game to running backs over the past 5 weeks. So great spot for the Steelers. I mean, honestly, overall, the Bengals defense has been pretty bad recently. So not a bad spot there. 57% Josh Allen. Let's take a look at the quarterbacks. 57% Josh Allen, 35% Jake Browning. So those two are taking up 92% of our lineups. Okay, damn. That is quite a bit. So what are we getting to? Getting to 5% Easton Stick, 3% Mason Rudolph. Interesting. Okay. So just want to do a quick look at the main slate to see who we're getting as our highest exposures. You can see here, these are our highest exposed players on the slate. We are pretty condensed, but it's a 2-game slate. You kind of can't avoid that. All right. Just want to do quick looks at all of these. So I'm going to move right along to DraftKings Showdown slate. Going to look at all lineups. I'm going to use standard projections. For Showdown slates, you can actually choose the game script that you want to take a look at, but I'm just going to use standard projections here. All right, first lineup we look at leaves 900 on the table. We got Najee Harris in the captain spot, Jake Browning paired with Tyler Boyd. We got Mason Rudolph paired with Najee Harris. It's interesting that that's the only stack there with Rudolph is Najee Harris, but I think this is a totally viable lineup. Obviously, you wouldn't get it if it were not. Looks like a fine first lineup for a large field GPP. Second line, we've got Mason Rudolph in the captain spot. Just a single stack here with George Pickens. Typically, if I had Mason Rudolph in the captain, I prefer to have multiple Steelers pass catchers in the flex, but it's obviously viable and low ownership there for Rudolph in the captain spot. Maybe he runs it in a touchdown, scores some points on the ground, and gets there anyway. Spreads the ball out outside of Pickens. I think it's totally viable. We get Drew Sample there at 6% ownership, pretty low owned. Mixon, Higgins, and Boyd obviously going to look great with no Jamar Chase on the slate, also leaving 900 on the table. Third lineup, we got a Jake Browning single stack with Chase Brown. We've also got the Bengals defense in there. And then we got both Steelers running backs. That'll bring down the ownership a little bit on the lineup, or sorry, the combo. People aren't going to play that combo all that often. We got an 18% on Pat Freiermuth, and this one is leaving 4,600 on the table. That's pretty nice. This is not going to be a lineup that is duped a ton. I don't love that it's Jake Brown in the captain spot with only a single sack, and that single sack is to a running back. I'd prefer to have multiple pass catchers with Brown in the captain spot. But again, this is a lineup that is not going to be duped a ton. Obviously, there are ways for Jake Browning to get there with just one pass catcher. Maybe throws a touchdown to Chase Brown through the air. Maybe he scores it on the ground. There are ways for it to work. And then finally, we get a Najee Harris again with Mason Rudolph. Now Mason Rudolph is single stacked in the flex. Double stack from the flex. I don't mind a single stack if you do have the quarterback in the flex. And then we have Mixon, Hudson, Boyd from the Bengals. All right, I'm just going to go through, trying to be quick here, so I am going to go through and save at the end. Damn, this is leaving 7,900 on the table. Kicker at captain. This is a really interesting lineup that probably only works for a low scoring game where there's a lot of PPR points being picked up by Boyd, Brown, and Deontay Johnson, maybe Jake Browning, maybe a one passing touchdown, that kind of thing. But interesting, leaving 7,900 with the kicker in the captain spot. All right, I'm just going to go through, save, see what kind of exposures we have at the end. And again, link is in the description if you want to check this out for yourself. I do recommend running it as close to lock as possible. In NFL, it doesn't need to be that close to lock, just within an hour or so is typically my recommendation. We got to 47% Joe Mixon, 42% Tyler Boyd, 42% T. Higgins, 40% George Pickens. A lot of players at 35%, Jake Browning, Mason Rudolph, Najee Harris, and Pat Freiermuth. Bengals defense and Deontay Johnson at 33%. We're pretty spread out overall in our ownership here, but Mixon, four of the top five are Bengals players here in terms of our exposures. All right, let's take a look at FanDuel main slate now for Saturday. So it's just the 2-gamer. I'm going to do all stack types, all lineup types. First lineup we get to on FanDuel, and the salary cap on FanDuel is 60,000. So we are leaving 12,000 on the table right away in this lineup. We've got Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs, just a solo stack there. We got Josh Palmer and Gerald Everett on the bring back. We also got the Bills defense there. And then from the other game, we have 3 Steelers, Jalen Warren, Najee Harris. We get both Steelers running backs in a great spot against the Bengals. We also got George Pickens in there. And then we have Tyler Boyd coming back from the Bengals in this one. Looks like a nice lineup. Obviously, you're going to get a ton of ownership in basically all of these. Any lineup you make that is a good lineup that projects well, it's going to have a lot of ownership on a 2-game slate. But interesting, we've got this will be a low-owned combo, I suspect, Warren and Najee Harris. A lot of times people just want to pick one or the other as the guy. Certainly plausible for them both to have games that you want to have for a 2-game slate. All right, let's see what the next lineup looks like. Josh Allen again with Diggs again, and then we have Kaloshik here. So this one is a double stack. We got Joshua Palmer and Austin Eckler on the bring back. And then from the other game, we have the Steelers defense. Interesting. We got Steelers defense, no other Steelers players. Steelers defense against 3 Bengals. So we got Mixon, Boyd, and Hudson in there for the Bengals. 326% total ownership, leaves 300 on the table. And then we'll look at one more. Mason Rudolph with Jalen Warren and Deontay Johnson. We got Joe Mixon and Tyler Boyd on the bring back. We've also got 3 Bills players here, including the defense. Bills defense, Dalton Kincaid and Stephon Diggs. We do not have anybody from the Chargers in this one. So 3 Bills, no Chargers, couple Bengals, 4 Steelers in this one. Oh yeah, I missed that. We had Mason Rudolph with Jalen Warren, Deontay Johnson, and Najee Harris. So once again, doing the double running back thing for the Steelers. Great matchup against that Bengals defense. All right, now I'm just going to go through and save. We'll see what our final exposures look like. And notice we're getting to 40 lineups here. So that's kind of nice, getting some bonus lineups right away. You can always go back and get more lineups, but it is kind of nice, in my opinion, to just be able to get 40 lineups, save them right away. 70% Jalen Warren, 68% Steph Diggs, 62% James Cook, 55% Tyler Boyd, 50% Josh Allen, 45% Najee Harris and Joshua Palmer, 42% Austin Eckler and Tanner Hudson, 40% T. Higgins, and then we are spread out against with several players in here. Looking at the quarterbacks on FanDuel, we have, again, 50% Josh Allen. Then we have 38% Jake Browning, so 88% of our quarterback exposure goes to those 2. We've got just 10% Mason Rudolph, 3% Easton Stick. So on DraftKings, we were getting to Mason Rudolph the least. On FanDuel, it is Easton Stick. That is, of course, a small sample size. This is just the first 40 lineups on each. All right, finally, let's take a look at the FanDuel single game lineups, see what's popping there. I'm going to do all lineups. Again, standard projections for me. All right, Tyler Boyd in the MVP spot. We do not have Jake Browning in this one. We've got Joe Mixon and T. Higgins also there from the Bengals. And we have Mason Rudolph with Pat Freiermuth as our stack in this one. We're leaving 2,500 on the table. This makes perfect sense to me as a large field GPP lineup. Because we're leaving salary, not a lot of people are going to play it, but this is totally a plausible lineup with Jamar Chase out, Boyd and Higgins getting a lot of the action. Maybe Boyd is the one who scores a touchdown or 2, becomes the optimal MVP at just 4% MVP ownership. We got Rudolph in there, stacked with Freiermuth, low ownership going to Freiermuth. That's really interesting. 8% to Freiermuth. I like that quite a bit. Looks like a great large field GPP lineup on FanDuel. Second lineup, we're leaving 3,500 on the table. We have both running backs from the Bengals. Joe Mixon in the MVP spot. We have Chase Brown in there as well. If they're able to run all over the Steelers, why not use both? Why not have both of them doing well? We have Jake Brown in there, only paired with his running back. That is definitely more viable on FanDuel, in my opinion, than DraftKings, since it's only half PPR. Obviously, we saw you can do it on DraftKings as well, but it looks a little bit better to me on FanDuel. Then we have Pickens and Freiermuth from the Steelers. Let's take a look at one more. This one leaves 5,000 on the table. I don't love that we have naked Rudolph here. I'd rather have Mason Rudolph paired with at least one pass catcher. But again, he spreads the ball around a little bit here. Maybe he passes it more to the more expensive guys who can't fit in there. I mean, we're leaving 5,000 on the table, so maybe that's we can't really make that argument as well. But maybe he's just spreading the ball around. Maybe he scores a rushing touchdown. There are ways for him to get there naked, and it's easier to do on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings, since it is only half PPR. Both defenses in this one, and then we have Mixon and Boyd from the Bengals as well. It's not my favorite. I think I prefer the other lineups we've looked at, but certainly plausible. And this one I like even better. Joe Mixon with the Bengals defense. That makes a lot of sense. We've also got the Steelers defense, and then we have Rudolph with Freiermuth stacked once again. I like that a lot better for a large field GPP. You can be picky. You can keep going, finding all the lineups you want to. All right, now I'm just going to go through and save until we get to the end, see what our exposures look like. 72% Jake Browning, 53% Mason Rudolph. Often happens that on FanDuel, you're getting more of the quarterbacks because it is half PPR, so the quarterbacks pop a little bit more in terms of the projection. So not a huge surprise that our two highest exposures are the two quarterbacks. We're getting a 40% Joe Mixon, 40% Pickens, 40% Bengals defense, 35% Higgins, and so on and so forth. A lot of different exposures here on FanDuel. All right, so we've looked at every slate that is currently available in the lineup generator. But again, you sign up now, you're going to get all of these slates from Saturday, the main slate, main Saturday slate 2-gamer, plus the showdown slate for the Bengals and the Steelers. Of course, we can only have one main slate up there at a time and only one showdown slate at a time. So you can't do every single one. We only do the primetime ones. But again, we're going to have new stuff on Sunday. So if you sign up right now, you're going to get the Saturday slate, you're going to get the Sunday slates, you're going to get the Monday slate, all of that, plus Thursday next week as well, if you sign up now. So it's a great time to sign up. Use the link in the description of this video. It'll be 25% off. And of course, if you don't want to just sign up for the lineup trader, you can also get the Sims for 25% off. If you've been thinking about trying those, you can also find the link in the description of this video. Thank you for watching, and good luck this weekend.